Alright, good morning everyone. My name is Krzyszkowski. I'm a Marquette sports performance coach intern at Marquette University here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I currently have been interning since September 2015, and today I'll be presenting on Alpine Skiing Super G for the U.S. men's national team, the training outline. So now we go into our sport overview. So Alpine Skiing Super G, it differs between men and women. I'm primarily looking at the men's team. So the course race is about 1 to 2 minutes, and then courses go from about 250 meters to 450 meters, and the incline is relatively steep. So they go faster than giant slalom, and then there's more turns than downhill skiers. So if you have familiarity with either of these skiing variations, well then you'll get a sense of how alpine skiing is. So now, physiological needs of my team. So for mobility, there's certain stability and flexibility requirements in the body. We want to be able to be dorsiflex, have stiff, not necessarily stiff, but stable knees, mobile hip joints to be able to maneuver around the flags during the whole run. And then strength, primary strength needs, we have maximal strength, isometric strength, and eccentric strength. Each of them plays a role in preparation of the athletes, and they'll be all kind of utilized during the sport. Power, we have reactive power, power endurance. So reactive power is more kind of where they're, each turn they have to exert power, a certain amount of force to overcome, and then propel themselves around the gates. And then power endurance is how many times they can repetitively turn around these gates. And then for my energy systems, I have a lactic power capacity. So since it's a 1 to 2 minute sport, majority of the energy system is going to come from your glycolytic, but there's going to be contributions from your alactic energy system, and then slight contribution, minimal, around 10-15% from your aerobic, so your aerobic power. And then common injuries, so these are some things I need to look out for when I'm programming. So most frequently we have knee injuries, so either sprains, tears, or complete, throwing tears, and then there's just, so everything else listed over here is very minimal. It happens, but something to look out for, but the most common injury is that knee sprain and knee tear injury. And then the training history, so this is the UN's men's national team, so they've been training for around 10-20 years on average. And at a high intensity, so ever since they've been on the national team, the average of training age of at a high intensity for each of these team members is 5 years, and they're proficient in all the exercises given that they've been training for so long. So these are some of the physical testing and evaluation assessments that I'll be doing throughout the year. So I want to look at their vertical power, their horizontal power. Conditioning is the biggest one, will be that lactic threshold. How long can they withstand their lactic or their glycolytic system, and then kind of unilateral strength to look at inefficiencies or asymmetries that I might need to address because they're they have a lot of weight shifting during the sport, so they'll need to be proficient and have almost symmetric strength on each side to prevent those knee injuries we talked about earlier. So then here I'm going to go into my off season. So for the off season, primary focus was strength, max strength, and we lifted 3 times a day, and then the days were split up. So we had a higher volume day, and then we had a higher intensity day, and then we had a medium intensity and volume day. So we did kind of tempo snatch progressions and tempo clean progressions for the reason of we're just getting them back into training, and we want one, nail down technique, and two, put time on intention. So we have hypertrophy also in the muscles because we want to increase cross-sectional area of the muscles. Next, we have our preseason. So with this phase, this is a strength speed phase. So again, we're going 3 times a week. Intensities slightly vary week to day to day. There's going to be higher, lower intensity, and then also we're varying intensities because each practice day isn't the same. So there's certain practice days where they're going to be practicing really hard, and I'm going to have to taper down what I'm doing here. And there's certain days I can hit them hard. So we picked day 2 to hit them hard, and then day 1 they'll kind of ease into it. They'll have a high intensity in practice day. Here we have the in-season. So depending on the competition schedule of the in-season, it's going to be a slightly different focus, but primarily we're just trying to get them to move as fast as possible and react as fast as possible. This is a speed strength phase, so we're trying to get them to move at the weight as fast as possible, but focus more on velocity rather than moving the weight fast. So weight right here is very minimal, and primarily we're looking at speed, so we're using velocity-based training. Velocities are average velocities of each of the legs. And then here we have the annual plan. So this is the whole season mapped out. So we're going to start hypertrophy, then hit the max strength phase, and then work on strength speed. And at the end of preseason, I want to hit the isometrics again, our max strength phase, so we have residuals going on into the season. And then when we have a little gap in the season, again, we're going to do a little max strength concentrics, so they're still fast, versus decentrics and isometrics are going to be moving a little slower after that phase. So I prefer to have them moving fast, and then we'll hit strength speed. And then final 3 weeks there, we have speed strength to have them taper and peak towards their most important pre-competition, which is the Super Cup final in this year. Also in the annual plan, we have the plyometrics. So I have my emphasis intensities going on, and then we have also number of conditioning sessions and lifting sessions, and then also you can see there's what days I'll be testing throughout the season. But yeah, here's my contact information, and if you have any questions, now's the time to ask.
Okay, time for questions. Just raise your hand, I'll call out your name, and then you can ask your question. Paul.
So for the testing, on your testing page, for the Bulgarian single leg squat, is that going to be a 1 rep max?
No, it's not maximum.
Okay. So how many reps would you have them test out for? Okay. And then why is your Wingate test 60 seconds compared to a traditional 30 seconds?
Just sport specificity. It's the traditional is 1 to 2 minutes, the average run of the course. So I'd rather have them closer to that and see how they're going to do over that length of time of the run versus traditional 30 seconds.
Andrew.
So these are all elite athletes you're working with, right? So suppose you had a non-elite or a novice athlete in this particular sport. How would you begin progressions towards what you have right here? How would you regress a little bit?
So we'd have a bigger emphasis on general exercises than specific exercises. So kind of here we have more specific exercises, devoting more time. So you kind of vary that ratio, and then you have to kind of, you probably have to do more corrective than work on their imbalances and all general stuff like I said. And then intensity, you probably wouldn't be able to hit them as high just because they don't have that high training age.
Alex.
You kind of talked about like the common injuries for your sport. What things in your program are you doing to kind of either prehab or prevent those?
So with the knee injuries, between every main accessory movement, we have some kind of corrective exercise. It would be a hip flexor stretch or a band TKE. Some kind of stuff loosen up so we make sure we don't overcompensate or have kind of cone contraction in certain muscles where we're favoring one muscle over the other and causing imbalances and everything. And then also for other ones we have at the end, strength circuit, it addresses core stability and just positional requirements. So like, for example, there's a humerus injury, right? So put more mass on the shoulders, on the arms, to kind of soften the blow. Or you have certain stretches and strains. So we know like muscles are dynamic decelerators. So if we can strengthen those muscles, we can take more pressure off the ligaments. So stuff like that. Any other questions?
I have one final one. You had a couple of exercises in your program with eccentric emphasis or isometric emphasis. So how do you intend to kind of quantify the load or the stress on the athlete when you're looking at eccentric or isometric exercises?
So we're looking at time under tension. So for every second of time under tension, it's relative to 1%. So for example, if we have a set of 3 for 3 seconds, eccentrics each rep. So then we have 9 seconds of time under tension. So that's 9% under their relative intensity table. Relative intensity, we use the relative intensity chart, and so I take away 9% from that relative intensity.
Any further questions? Yeah, good job.